Hello, hello. Welcome to part 3 of the creation of Trials of Avorkarth, a tentative game I am creating for the fun of it and using to learn Unreal Engine's many systems. I guess we'll hop right into it. Most astute viewers will notice that it doesn't look like much has changed in terms of what's going on. But there are quite a few updates nonetheless, so let's get into it. The first change that you'll notice is not here because nothing has changed on the map selection menu. It's still the same idea where you start on the left and on the right and you have to proceed through randomly generated levels and events to finish the game and acquire your victory. So the only thing I'll note for this one is that there was actually quite a few bugs that I had to iron out. Bugs are really hard to find, but my code is getting better, although no doubt by most standards, it is still pretty terrible. Yay, artist learning coding. It's fun. For now, it's still all combat-based with a board and units that you can move around, but what you may notice is that the UI has been updated a bit. It doesn't look that much different, but I have been having a blast learning Unreal Engine 4's UMG system, which is their UI system as far as I understand it, and it is incredibly powerful and really intuitive to use. But thanks to that, I was finally able to bring in some artwork. Not that one. There we go. This one is hilarious, but it's unofficial. So I've been doing the paintings on YouTube weekly. If those who follow me, every Wednesday I put out a new painting. They've been for units for this game, so like the Ogre and the Dryad and all that kind of stuff. They'll be appearing down the line, most probably. They're also for the tabletop version of Avorkarth that I've been creating, but interchangeable since they're set in the same universe. Anyways, it's fantastic how powerful the UI is, as I said, and it's thanks to that I'm able to start gathering very nice data and putting up all the systems in place and being able to see them in action, as you may as well. So, as it was previously, the battle begins with the player having to put his units onto the board, so he can pick from his cards available to him, and then put them on any of the spawnable locations. So, there we go, and there we go. Differently than previous, however, is that it used to be that whenever I clicked on a unit on the UI and placed it on the board, it would disappear from the UI, and that's because they were two separate entities. But now I have it, with learning a lot about UMG, that the UI is simply a record holder, if I can put it that way, of the card. And now I can hover and select cards through the UI or through the cards themselves. Also previously was once the deck was fully put onto the board, the level AI would take over and begin the battle. This is no longer the case. The battle is now player begun, and that's because I thought players should probably have the opportunity to change their mind and reorganize what they want, where they want. When they're happy with it, the player can then click on the begin battle. And once battle has begun, the level AI takes over, and it grabs an initiative, the highest initiative of all the units on the board, and tells it, it's your turn. So as you can tell, the green tiles lit up as movement as they did in the previous video. Newly, however, is that I started adding the dice rolls and the probabilities and all that fun stuff of tabletop. So when I hover over an enemy unit, or an ally, I think right now I haven't put a conditional, I'll fix that later. It checks the unit stats, so the knight has melee accuracy of 6 and a might of 3, and the kobold has a dodge of 3 and an armor of 3. For now, the numbers will change, but you'll notice that thanks to that, the knight's attack is much higher than the kobold's dodge, so it's easier to get a success or a critical success. Whereas the might and armor being on equal terms means that the dice is more likely to get a failure or a critical failure or a partial success. I'll implement all of that stuff later on, but if you're interested in how the combat system is most probably going to work, I have it all set up for my tabletop. You can check it out at avorkarth.com. Free for everyone. Yay! Nonetheless, so as always, I can move and then it will detect that an enemy is nearby. So I can either do nothing and defend, or I can click on an enemy unit to attack it. And there we go. I missed, unfortunately. He still has 2 health, but that happens. And then I can move my soldier maybe like here to do that. And since there's no enemies around him, I have to click defend to end his turn. The AI then takes over, which is the big reveal for this month. I created an AI, not necessarily a super smart one, but one that functions well enough. What they do is they will focus a creature and then start moving towards it. However, if there's an enemy unit nearby, there is a chance instead of going towards their priority target, they'll charge that one instead. So it gives the player a bit of incentive to create a wall, so to speak, to protect their archers or mages or that kind of stuff. As the AI, while maybe picking one of the archers or wizards or whatever as a priority target, they will nonetheless have a chance to be locked in combat with a melee unit. So you'll notice that they moved and then they attacked, one after the other. I added an artificial delay so that the player can tell what happens every time. So move, attack, and they both attacked my knight, and one of them actually got through and dealt some damage, and the UI updated with his health bar going down, and he's at 3 wounds out of 4. You can't tell, but I know the numbers. Once their turn was over, it's now the player's turn again, and this goes back and forth until the combat phase is over. And wow, did I seriously miss again with the knight? Oof, I am having a bad luck with dice rolls. Anyways, I can move in and also miss. I rolled a 2. Oh, man. All right, so the Cobalt Scavenger now went around and decided to do nothing. Interesting. Such is the way of things. Nonetheless, I'm still very happy with how my AI has turned out. There's bugs that I will obviously have to find and squash, but this is how the game is coming along. It's about, I would love to say 90% of the core mechanics is down, but as much as I've been learning coding, I now know that that is not the truth. Nonetheless, progress is being made in my spare time, and yeah, slowly and slowly we'll get through it, get there, and have a playable game in time. Thank you all for watching and following, and to keeping me company throughout these times. Hopefully I'll deliver something very fun soon enough. Thanks all. Have a good one.